So there's a standard process of procedures here. I'm trying to follow them, all right? So amend the 2018 holiday schedule. What specifically?
Okay, hold on. So,
It's fine. You have to, it's fine.
all right. Oh goodness. Well, I'm really not prepared, I'm sorry.
I'm not either.
No excuses. Okay, I'm tangled right now. Hold on.
So the holiday schedule, we are amending it for two reasons. One, we left the half day off for New Year's Eve. The other is, if you'll recall, sometimes the governor turns that half day into a full day, and we always are scrambling around trying to have a special meeting. So what I did instead is to add language that would automatically make it a day for county employees if the governor issues that proclamation, so that we don't have to meet to make it a day for county employees as well. So we're adding the half day for December 31st and then adding that language to automatically kick in a holiday if the governor issues a proclamation. And that would be true for any proclamation that the governor would give for a day off. Because we follow the state schedule, and I can't remember a time where the county commission hasn't given the day off when the governor does.
Okay, so I move we amend the 2018 holiday schedule as outlined by the county administrator.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, wait, so I just hit 10 and 11 at the same time?
Well, you didn't, because
Oh.
you have to approve the 2019 holiday schedule.
Oh, okay.
Which has now, going forward, all of our holiday schedules will have that same language that I just talked about, where if the governor issues a proclamation, you don't have to meet to make it official. Our policy, in effect, makes it official. So, and then it's also the 2019 holiday schedule.
I move we adopt the 2019 holiday schedule as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done.
Those are the easy
Um,
ones.
What about number, anything further on 15, discussion of Jefferson County Development Authority Board member resignations? Any comments?
What should we put on next week's agenda, discussion on
I will.
the number?
Yeah, I'll put it on there.
Board number. Okay, you're going to take care of that?
Yeah, I'll take that. 16, acknowledgement of assessors' additional duties as delineated in the West Virginia Code 776.
Under the code section, the assessor is entitled to additional compensation if she get a letter from the, right off the top, yes, that she has successfully fulfilled her duties. She has, so she's entitled to that additional compensation now.
Exactly, state cap tax.
That's right, yes. The property valuation, that's PVC.
I move that we acknowledge the assessor's additional duties have filed with us, and it's also delineated in West Virginia Code 7-7-A. Well, no, this says 6B, oh, you got it.
Says A.
6A and 6B.
Yes, 6A. And that's just,
Formality.
it's a formality, yeah, that, you know, the assessor is taxed with what is, or so-called additional duties, so she can receive compensation for work that she's done throughout
Just
the
like
year.
the sheriff too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So, yeah. So, is that motion made?
I
You
thought I
made
made
it?
the motion.
Second?
I will. I'll
Okay.
second it.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Okay, so 13, I just want to touch on this briefly and then put it on it again. Discussion of residential and commercial impact fees. Okay, so residential and commercial were cut at the downturn of the economy, is what I gather.
So when we recalculated the fees for residential, so we have to basically do a study every 5 years to determine, or it's 10 years, to determine whether the fees are appropriate and we're charging at the appropriate levels. So when we did that study, instead of setting them at 100%, the commission set them at 60% of what the consultant recommended. With commercial, we just, prior to that, we had basically eliminated them. They're 99.9% of what they're
at
basically
1%.
not, yeah, 0.01%. Yes.
0.01%.
So I guess, I mean, Commissioner Nolan and Tab can maybe reiterate this, but as a result of that reduction, how much more commercial or business have we received?
Well, I think you would have to talk to the Development Authority about that. Maybe Bill would be willing to come in and do a presentation on that. I know the last time that it was addressed, and the last time we received a presentation, you know, there were businesses that did locate here, and we were told at that time that some of them were here because if they'd had to pay the full impact fee, they would not have been able to afford to come. So that, I don't know what the new numbers are, but I'd like to hear from Nick on that.
Okay, so Berkeley doesn't charge an impact fee. Does-
No.
does-
They
The
don't-
only
don't-
county in the
No, that-
state
They are
that
not
have.
eligible to charge.
I'm just
a
thinking
impact
about
fee.
the surrounding counties. Washington, if you know, Washington, Frederick, or Loudoun, do they have something that's equivalent to an impact fee?
Proffers in Loudon.
Yeah, so Virginia does not have an impact fee system. They have what is called a proffer system, which is basically meeting with the developer and, you know, the developer will proffer certain amenities in exchange.
Like a playground,
Yes.
a community building.
Fire station,
Yeah,
things like that.
stuff like that, yeah.
And I know in other states, when a housing development is scheduled to be built, the developer is required to allocate so much of that land for schools and parks and things like that. So I think that that's one way that and they also, in Las Vegas, they also pay for the roadway into, I didn't know that till our visit there this week, but they also pay for the roads. And the maintenance of the roads.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and in addition to reviewing the fees, I thought we were inviting the
Board of
Board of
Education,
Ed to
yes.
come and explain, well, I need to understand their building program, and I hear words about a bond, and we need to understand maybe, or I need financial situation and how impacts may or may not play a part in that.
That's right.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, in Virginia, they build a fire station, et cetera. Can that even be utilized in West Virginia? We're not designed to do something like that, are we?
Well, they're volunteer.
Well, the one
Companies.
where the ESA was, the county built the building, but the land, I believe, but the land was donated by the developer.
So that's what we've had. Some developers have donated land in lieu of paying the impact fees. So not in lieu of paying, but the value of the land is counted toward their impact fees. So Washington High School is located on land that was donated by a developer. And they got the value of their land in impact fees, and then they charged whatever amount was left. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. Do you know anything about Maryland? Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't know anything about Maryland. We looked into it at one point in time, but I cannot remember. But I can look into that.
Just part of me, I feel like Jefferson County more meshes with the surrounding counties to our east, north, and south, more than Berkeley County.
Well, and Berkeley County can't charge
Yeah,
impact
exactly.
fees.
That's
We're the
another
only
reason,
county in
too.
the state that can charge them because of countywide zoning, and that's one of the requirements.
And I don't think we want to lose sight of who we
I'm
are.
not saying that at all. I'm
Okay.
just being
I just
practical
wanna be
here.
sure.
We have massive growth coming from the suburbs of DC. We need to somehow quantify how much this is costing existing taxpayers. The houses that have gone up in Harper's Ferry, right there across from the Border Patrol, has been significant over the past year. So, I mean.
Well,
And
we've
they've
done
been
that
impacted.
through
Yeah,
impact fees.
exactly.
We know that.
But
what
the
it costs.
amount, though, I mean, we need that, we'll invite the school board rep next week and maybe Nick Deal and just get their understanding of it. They may have different perspectives on
Right.
whether or not we need to look at these.
And I think there's $6,700 for a single-family home. Impact fees right now in residential dwellings is like $6,700 per
Yeah, it's-
residence, isn't it? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we have a new schedule for multifamily.
Right,
Right,
it's different
right.
with
Yeah, yeah.
multifamily and townhomes, I
Yeah.
think,
Yes,
too.
yes,
They're-
because we
they're
had
separate.
so many more of those, and we didn't have that in the
they're
original
high,
schedule. Yeah.
That development that's slated for where Food Lion is and Between Sheets, there's gonna be apartments in there. So
Yeah.
how, do we have a schedule for those?
Yeah. We do, for apartments.
Yeah.
But didn't they have a low income something that we had a
Yeah, they
problem with?
applied for the affordable
Yeah.
not those apartments in particular, but the ones out by Martin's applied for the
Yes.
affordable housing discount and
They
received
got
it. No, they received it because
What I mean.
the way that it's written in such a way that it's the cost of the building, not the rent they will charge, and we need to change it to
Yes, we do.
what the rent will be, because that's what makes it affordable.
Right.
Because they're not affordable. They're not considered
No.
affordable housing. Yeah.
$1,000 for a one-bedroom.
My mortgage,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Can we add that on to this review of the impact fee?
Yep.
So we
I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that just needs to be relooked at. I'm not necessarily saying we need to just get a better understanding of where things are going.
Well, and I think maybe a review to learn from what we know now, a review from past mistakes,
Yeah.
and maybe update.
And what the staff
What
sees
needs to
as
be updated.
stumbling blocks when people come in, unusual situations they come up with.
And I still, I know that we've talked about this before, but, affordable housing is important, especially as people age. Lots of times they want to downsize. And to be able to downsize to an area where maybe for senior living or assisted living or, those types of things, I think those are things that need to be looked at as well.
Yeah, the problem, it looks like the market currently is dictating that otherwise in Jefferson County right now, if we're talking about a one-bedroom apartment for $1,000. I mean, that just does not even, and then they still get the benefit is insane to me, so.
They expanded and they still qualified.
See, that's just
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Even with, so when they redid the appraisal for the expansion, we used the rents for the appraisal, and they still qualified for the affordable housing discount.
Well, we need to-
That's, so the discount is, we're essentially taking away potential tax dollars to provide them an incentive.
Right,
So on the
to
back
provide-
end, they're probably making a killing off of those,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, there's just nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, they're building more.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So there
Which
is a
one
schedule
right
for
now?
apartment buildings, but then this particular developer came in and said, well, we qualify for the affordable housing discount on the impact fees. They had an appraisal, we had an independent appraisal, we chose them, I think they paid for them. And then when they expanded, we did the same thing, and we thought, okay, well, with the rents, they definitely won't qualify, because they'll use the market analysis, and they did use the market analysis in the appraisal, and they still qualified for the affordable. And those apartments, there's nothing affordable about those apartments.
Figure out a better way to do
Yeah,
that.
it's definitely something that needs to be looked. Okay, and then one last thing, the commercial goes majority to sheriff and
Parks.
parks and ESA.
ESA, not
Yeah,
parks.
yeah.
Parks is residential.
Residential parks,
Yeah.
school, and some
Yeah.
police.
Yeah, so if it's in a municipality, we don't charge a fee because they have their own municipal. But if it's in the
For
county,
parks.
and, no,
And
for
for sheriff,
police,
too.
for sheriff.
And, okay, right.
If
because
it's,
they have
if it's
their
in
own
the city,
police,
yes.
right.
If it's,
If they have
did
their
I
own
say,
service,
I think
we
I
don't
said
charge
that,
for
yeah, I think I said that backwards. If it's in the county, then yes. And the majority of the commercial fee is for fire and EMS and the sheriff. That's what the majority of the commercial fee is for.
Okay. All right, so, yeah, I guess get in touch with Nick and a rep from the school board. Maybe we can, if they're available next week, and then Lauren's will be here. All right, that's all I have on that, unless anybody else has anything. All right, can we just move down to administrator reports, property sale and emergency agency?
So the fire.
Safety.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
I yawned when I read the safety part.
The fire chief so the code requires a fire chief to be a member of the Property Safety Enforcement Agency. And we have tried to get our delegation to change this language to be a fire chief or his designee, because the other fire chief we had, who was a great fire chief, the problem is that he was also a professional firefighter, and often when the agency met, he was unable to attend. And now we've had a resignation from the current appointee. I talked to Alan Kaiser, and he said he would be willing to serve on the agency as a fire chief. And we had some debate as to whether or not he would be considered a fire chief, but the ESA is a fire prevention unit. They have that designation from the state. So I think that he would qualify if you wanted to appoint him as a fire chief position, because they are, like I said, a fire chief. They are a fire prevention unit recognized by the state of West Virginia and the State Fire Commission.
Do we need to re-advertise it?
Well, it's for, yeah, I mean, we could re-advertise for a fire chief position if you wanted to do that, but it has to be a fire chief, so it has to be one of the 7 or Alan.
Well, and that's what I mean, give everybody a chance, and then, have Mr. Allen in there too, if
Okay.
you will apply.
That's fine,
Yeah, I
See
think that's
see what we've got.
I think that's a good.
Someone may surprise us, but I know with what their responsibilities are as a fire chief, it's hard to be on another board.
Well, and they're already volunteering, so.
Yes, right.
Now we're asking them to volunteer again for property safety, so.
Holiday breakfast.
Holiday breakfast. So every year we have a holiday party. We've been switching it between downtown and breakfast. This year is the time for the breakfast. And it's, when we switch, the breakfast is out at maintenance to provide more of our Bardane campus employees an opportunity to come in. I cannot remember, did we start at 7 or?
It was 7.
Yeah.
And
So,
time to eat before they go to.
yeah. So typically, we have done it on a Thursday meeting, but your next Thursday meeting is at 6:00 PM, so I don't think it matters for you, whether it's on a Thursday meeting day or not. So I was looking at the 13th of December, but that's up to you. And I've already spoken with Mr. Polk.
I don't think that's a problem.
That works for me.
Thursday the 13th?
Thursday the 13th, that should be fine.
Yeah.
And typically, the commissioners will help make breakfast, usually
Yeah.
pancakes and
You
eggs
guys
and
can,
stuff like that.
we'll
I don't
we'll
know if you want me
coach you
cooking. I'll
on
bring some
flipping
stuff,
pancakes
but-
if you need coaching.
We'll teach you how to flip
And we,
pancakes.
and they
wanna make them
cook
giant
bacon and
pancakes.
sausage too, so, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Deal.
that works.
I will send out a notice to employees for that. So the meet and greet, meet your commissioner, we've kind of been pushing that down the road.
I
I
think
don't-
there has been meet and greeting going on.
Right, I mean, we've had evening meetings and we've had some other things going on, but I don't know if you want to do that. I mean, December is usually a pretty bad time for people.
Probably be January.
Not in December.
Yeah.
And let's wait for
Ralph,
Commissioner
okay. yeah.
Lorenzetti. He may have some scheduling issues or suggestions.
And then we always do a legislative summit every year. We're always late scheduling it. Election. So did you want to do your own legislative summit this year? Elected and old state delegation.
We can do it.
So they don't start until February in an election year. Am I right about that?
Yes,
Um,
later. Yes.
So I think we typically do it in January.
Before the session starts.
When's
yeah.
the session start in February? Is it late February? Or
No,
No,
it's
early.
It's early, yeah.
They don't have to swear in a governor, so it's going to be harder.
It's up, I mean.
And it may have to be on a Thursday, that it's a non-meeting Thursday, or whenever they can get here.
Why don't you have,
Maybe you
Get 'em
try to
all.
get a couple of dates from them,
Yeah.
maybe, and see when most of them can be here.
Yeah, so the.
I don't
oh,
care.
wait.
Just-
They say the first day of
see
session
what
is
they
actually
can do.
January 9th. I don't know what that would be.
Session starts February 9th.
Yeah, it usually starts later.
Did you say January?
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait,
no,
what?
it's February.
January 9th is when they start.
Because the governor, because
That's right,
this
it's the-
wasn't a
yes,
governor's
right.
election.
Yeah.
why don't we do it the 3rd, if they're here? Ask them if they're available the 3rd or anytime that,
Okay.
that's a nasty week,
Yeah.
because 4th of July,
Like in
I
the
mean, first.
afternoon?
Yeah, I'm tired right now, man. New Year's.
There you
I
go.
don't know if Patsy will be recovered at that point.
I
don't
should
know.
be.
Okay.
I'll reach out for January 3rd, and if that doesn't work, I'll be in touch. Maybe we could do it in December.
Early. January for them?
Yeah.
Like afternoon or whatever, maybe evening or whatever.
Afternoon or evening,
Yeah.
January 3rd?
That's what we typically do. We do it on a commission meeting day, and we schedule the afternoon as a work session with the legislative delegation.
That's good.
I'll come back, none of us can do that.
And I think that we have, I think that's it. We talked about the temporary assignment. We're just going to let Commissioner Lorenzetti continue with Commissioner Roscoe's boards until January when we reassign them all. We talked about the JCDA Charlestown position and off the IT support position this week and moved it to next week, so.
Okay, so let's move to Nathan, try to give Will a call. You think he's gonna be available? 10 of?
I can see if he's available now.
One thing while Nathan is calling, I had a couple complaints about when we canceled our meeting. The citizens couldn't find the cancellation on our website. They're not Facebook people. So I don't know if we send out notices to the local radio. That's my only thought of, because we did cancel it kind of late in the day. Everybody hoping the weather would warm up and clear up. So I don't know if the radio stations, we should get that.
Typically, I thought our emergency management office notified all of the media of the cancellation.
Oh.
I'm almost certain, but I will check with Steve and make sure he
Okay.
did that.
I just want to make sure we cover as many.
Yeah, it was an
Basis.
extraordinary circumstance, too. They called for like 1 to 3 inches, and we got like 8 or something, too.
Well, I
so.
know, and everybody was expecting it to warm up and turn in.
She's in the weather forecast, they're the only place you can be wrong and still get paid.
Yeah. On a regular basis.
Is he good?
Yeah, we'll dial him in on that phone.
Okay, but if we're gonna have to, is there anything else outside of executive session that you can, or, I guess, what are you gonna move off till next week?
Yeah, I'm putting everything else off until next week, and we're going to discuss, get an update on the PSD issue, and I suppose, I don't know if, from the prior discussion, I think maybe Commissioner Nolan may have some questions for council, so to obtain some legal advice from council.
Okay, so in that regard, I move we go into executive session, just seek legal advice concerning discussion of PSD, dissolution, appeal, intervention of PSD decision, acquisition of PSD assets, and related issues.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're in executive session. And this will be the last agenda item for the day.
We don't anticipate anything coming out,
No.
but who knows?
And